Hi there, my name is Chris Hampton, co-founder here at Incite, and co-author of the Freedom Handbook. We're not going to talk a lot about that stuff today. Let's dig right in. If you're watching this video, if you chose to do so, then you are what we call a change maker, a term defined here for our purposes as anyone working to unleash her human potential. Furthermore, you are already a semi-potent part of WorldVoice, or more. Perhaps you're even amongst our most powerful components. Of course, you could also be amongst the enemy, those of us working to control and dominate the human race. No matter who you are, welcome. Together, over the next mere 4 or 5 minutes, in my estimation, I don't know, we're going to be igniting, in much fuller force, activity that will truly unleash human potential. In universal, uncensorable, and unstoppable fashion. Sounds pretty exciting, right? For the enemy are forever limited to weaponry that isn't only extinct, but impossibly inferior. Now, WorldVoice, for those of you that are unfamiliar, is defined as humanity rising in relative unity, using principles and practices that dissolve corruption, coercion, and crime. Now, you may be thinking, come on, all this grand talk is great, but don't worry. In a half a second, we're going to dig right into the dirty details and begin in earnest, routing out all systemic evils in the world, once and for all. Now, before we go any further, it must be said that we are not outlining a roadmap to any sort of utopia. Crime, coercion, and struggle towards a better world will always be with us. However, when it comes to large-scale corruption, coercion, crime, and ruling powers that exert systemic tyranny, these days and systems are absolutely coming to an end. In fact, they will die the very same way that the divine right of kings is a long dead idea, at the hands, of course, of the Magna Carta. WorldVoice is universal by definition, and also uncensored and unstoppable. Need proof? How about 3 examples that nail it to the wall, exemplifying exactly why the powers that be have been using any and everything they can to stop it? To no avail, however, thankfully, so take heart. First, think about the unforgettable corporate lesson WorldVoice gave the world by creating Wikipedia. Yes, we understand that these days this pure as snow initiative has undoubtedly been subverted. However, the lesson stands for the corporate world, leaving them forever shaking in their boots. Moreover, the only reason that the subversion itself happened is that WorldVoice hasn't yet taken the necessary steps to reclaim our encyclopedic tools and processes. Bad ideas, fake news, and false facts can never be censored out of existence, and in fact only grow when driven into the shadows. That said, focus on Wikipedia's beginnings, and in fact, the heart of the matter is, as ever, the collective global effort, which can now always outcompete the private market. Think Flickr, and if you haven't seen it, please watch Clay Shirky's famous TED Talk linked below on cognitive surplus to better understand the irrefutable math, science, and equations that we're talking about. Next, let's skip forward in time and impact both to examine the political lesson that WorldVoice had for the world to learn from and participate in by way of the defeat of SOPA and PIPA, led by the legendary Aaron Swartz and everybody around the world that gave a darn. Now, for those of you unaware, This was beyond precedent setting. Led by Aaron Swartz, WorldVoice created a near reciprocal flip in a mere 24 short hours of a previous vote 80 to 90% in favor of said legislation in the United States Congress or Senate, whichever it was, to 80 to 90% against, defeating the bill, and thereby protecting the free internet for all of humanity. Now, in truth, this is really all we ever need to discuss to illustrate and prove our point, and then some. Happily, though, WorldVoice wasn't done growing in strength, potency, and grand lessons for the world. It's only begun, folks. WorldVoice is calling to us all, telling us to pay closer attention to its birth, its life, its growth, for it's still in its infancy. This simple as can be need for many, many more of us, nearly all of us, to take part in our own small ways to support its growth and its true potential's unleashing. Ask yourself, how many of us did Wikipedia really employ help from? And by employ, I don't mean pay. Even taking into account just mere financial support. Did you ever help Wikipedia developers? Have you ever donated? I myself only ever donated $3 once, and I will not donate or help that platform again. Unless, of course, the changes that we're discussing are employed. Although it warrants asking, what would a global encyclopedic resource that was truly uncensorable be worth? And what would $50, for example, from everyone with an internet connection accomplish? Just to start. Pretty big question, right? Next, think about how many of us took part in that precedent-setting defeat of SOPA and PIPA. Far less, in fact, to be sure, than the numbers that even helped Wikipedia in its first few years. More to the point, again, exactly what would WorldVoice be capable of if even 25% of the world with an internet connection took part? Now you are beginning to imagine and taste the true scope and pervasive capacities of WorldVoice, and you should be near shaking with excitement. I know I am. In fact, over the last 6 years, this single idea and reality has taken over paramount position over all others in my mind, heart, and work. Rightfully so, too. For it's the biggest idea and reality that the world itself and all of humanity knows. This, my friends, is the yellow brick road in The Wizard of Oz that leads us to the gemmed city. The path to unleashing human potential. The only requirement is that in groups we walk together, constantly picking up new characters and people along the way. The story of The Wizard of Oz was a metaphor for life and our collective struggles. Having met more and more people of late, younger folks albeit, who never saw the movie, we've linked it below as well. This is a must-watch for everyone. Humans tell each other stories and truly live and learn by way of them. Now, thirdly and lastly, let's think hard about the reverberating crescendo of efficacy in WorldVoice. The whole world of us working together to root out and route around censorship and expose the naked truth. Over 20 years ago, I spoke openly and often about the reality of the IMF, the Federal Reserve, and other institutions of the like around the world. Yet nearly everyone I spoke with had not a clue. And furthermore, made me feel like the man in Socrates' famous allegory of the cave. Again, linked below if you're unfamiliar. We said, think hard. We meant it. Just take a moment, open your mind, and really think about the amazing rise in efficacy and impact around the world of the internet, routing around censorship and treating it like the malfunction it is. Which is nearly a direct quote from John Gilmore. Thank you, John. That last phrase, by the way, is amongst these 300 quotes that we spoke about in the Freedom Handbook, Incite's own 130,000 word plus tome on nearly the spectrum of human experience, from legal systems to education, healthcare, social programs and administrative structures, religious systems and ideas, war, the war on drugs, and my personal favorite, a whole world's dark night of the soul, just to name a few of the major chapters. There is not a single aspect to life that fills me with more hope. We are learning so fast, faster than I ever could have imagined. WorldVoice, i.e. working together, is the teacher, the tools, and the process. WorldVoice truly is universal, uncensored, and unstoppable. We need only continue moving, picking up pace, efficacy, and more of our neighbors, friends, and loved ones along the way. Thank you for spending time and in these few moments learning with us today a bit more about WorldVoice and the yellow brick road to unleashing human potential here with us today. If you enjoyed this video, share the message, support the work, and share this message some more. See you next time.